All right. So Moon Knight episode dos.
Yeah.
Now you guys said before that you know nothing about the comics when it comes to Moon Knight, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
What is this Alexa shit that he got with Moon Knight that he could just be like, "Hey Alexa, give me the suit."
Some of the suit.
Hey Alexa, bring Mark back.
Well, that's
like, is it on command type of thing?
Well, I think when Mark is in control, he does have control of summoning the suit to use it because he's the avatar of Khonshu. He can summon the suit when he needs it. The thing was, Steven was in control, but I guess he still has access to that ability, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So that's why he ended up in the Mr. Knight suit, which is a version of Moon Knight that was in the comic books.
Clean that suit.
Yeah, clean that suit. So I think this was just a fun way to incorporate that into the show without like disrupting things too much. We'll see if it becomes permanent, but yeah, I think it was just a way because that was a character, that was one of his personalities was the Mr. Knight version. And I think it was just like, oh, it would be a fun way to have this costume in here and have it make sense. Oh, Steven tries to summon the suit, but he doesn't really know how to do it the way that Mark does it. So that it comes on, he thinks of a real ass business suit, and that's what he is. So I think that's all that boils down to.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. So how does this episode start?
I don't remember how it starts.
Does it start with him going back to the museum, right?
Yeah, back to the museum to try to like, yo, I need to look at the footage of the shit because some crazy shit happened last night. And basically it's boiled out to him like, nah, you's a vandal. And he gets fired.
He's a vandal.
Vandalized the fucking blew up the bathrooms and shit. And it's like, oh, you're getting fired, dog, because you wilding out.
Yeah.
Okay, so these visions are real and can hit physical people, but only he sees them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it can hit anybody at any time, anywhere, but they only focus on him.
What are they trying to kill him?
So these little jackals come from like hell or like Australia. Where the fuck they come from? Wherever they come from. I associate hell with Australia. I feel like that's where you go when you die. You go to Australia.
You're not wrong with all the spiders and shit.
Fam, have you seen the animals in Australia?
Yeah, no, they wilding out there.
Nah. Fam, they have like fucking 4-foot spiders.
Yeah.
They have like super bats.
Yeah.
They have bats that are like as big as foxes, but these niggas have wings.
Yeah, wow.
They have slugs as big as fucking squirrels.
Yeah, wow.
Hell.
The weather.
The weather.
Hell.
I don't know, that guy that's a Scientologist.
You either go to heaven or Australia. That's it. Now, what happened? So he saw this shit, and then I guess he runs out of the museum, and then he meets his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So his wife, so at first he doesn't know he's married. Obviously, he's in the body of he's in the consciousness of Steven. So he gets on the back of this moped or motorcycle. His wife takes him back to his apartment, and she finds the scarab. She was like, yo, after all the shit we've been through, after all this shit that we did to try to get the scarab, and she really, because he looks like Mark, but he had the consciousness of Steven, she's kind of confused as to what's going on, because I guess she never saw the side of Mark.
Yeah.
And everyone's just very confused, and then they get a knock at the door, and it's what's their fucking clan name? What's their name?
I don't know. They call them the police. I mean, they show them as police.
Well, basically, it's the police, but they come into Steven's apartment acting like they're the police and they're looking for something, but they are really with the antagonist of it all. I forget his name.
But yeah.
Now, the antagonist of it all, is he a good guy or a bad guy with good intentions, or like what is he?
I think it depends on how you want to look at it. So we found out that he used to be the avatar. So he used to be what Mark is, the avatar. Yes. For whatever reason that didn't work out and they went to separate ways. For whatever, we'll figure out what happens. And then he got with whatever this deity is. And I guess in their minds, they're looking at it as like she's like the ultimate judge. But Steven's thing is like you're judging people before they even commit a crime. So then basically you're like judging innocent people.
Right.
And so I guess to show that idealistically they feel like they're right and they're like doing the just thing. But then comparatively, it's like, well, you're judging innocent people. If they haven't done anything yet, how can you kill people if they haven't done anything? So, like, I think the ideologies will be different.
You have Dookie in your soul. That's why.
You have Judo in your soul. You're a poop soul.
Poop soul. So now, so that happens. The police arrest him, and now they're seemingly taking him to the station. But what they really do is take him to this antagonist guy,
In a cult, whatever they got going on.
cult leader guy.
Yeah.
So basically, he takes him to him, and then he basically shows him the ropes of like this inner sanctum of like, excuse me, like followers that he has that have kind of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Have believed this story, I guess, for lack of a better term. So he takes them into this like the inner sanctum, and it was like, oh, we got people that do this. Oh, we got people that cook. Oh, you're vegan. I got some shit for you. We got people who do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. Now, and then in all this talking to him, and now he's like, yo, all I need is the scarab. And like, I guess the scarab would be able to resurrect the deity or God that has been locked away, but that he's the avatar of. No,
I don't think it wakes. I think it points to they're looking for something.
yes,
And I
like the scarab is like a compass.
Yeah, pointing to the direction of whatever it is they're trying to look for, and that's why they need the scarab.
Mm-hmm.
So then basically they get into a fight. Steven gets the suit. He gets the Mr. Knight suit. And he gets his ass whooped, and then he loses the scarab. And he basically gives Mark control. He beats the little thing, and that was really how it ends. And then he wakes up in Cairo, I believe he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was watching videos where they're hinting at this is possibly a third personality who he woke up because he woke up on the floor drinking a bottle of whatever fuck he was drinking. And they're saying there might be another personality, and that's who that person is that they kind of.
So Mark don't drink.
I mean, he can, but I'm just saying they're saying there's possibly a third personality that we haven't been introduced to yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens the more we watch. But
so basically, Mark is the main personality.
yeah, I think Mark was the main body, and then once he took into power, it like shattered his mind, and then now he has the other possibilities.
Okay,
But we'll see.
all right, that works. So yeah, so now the third episode, they're in Cairo. Now they're looking for the scarab, and now we don't know what's going on. So we will let you know next episode.
Yeah.
Even though you'll probably have watched it by then if you're keeping up with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, Moon Knight is 6 episodes in the
Yeah,
first
6.
season.
Yeah,
8?
6, I believe. Yeah.
6. Okay,
So we got 4 more left.
we got 4 more left.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Are the people at Marvel geniuses more than we give them credit for?
Yeah.
Because they're taking every B, C, D, E, G, Q list hero that they've ever had, and they're making series of them to make them, 1, visible to the public, 2, interesting, and 3, something that we can like latch on to. And then not only are they doing those 3 things, but they're incorporating them somehow, some way into the MCU, which is thus driving up the stock when they drop either like a TV series, a movie, a comic, a short series, or something like that. Like they're taking all these things that they have and making them useful. So it was like for years, obviously, you know, before Iron Man came out, before we knew there was like an actual MCU, a universe that was being created, it came out with Iron Man. Before Iron Man came out, Iron Man was like a, you know, like a C-list, you know, Thor, Captain America was like a B-list. Guardians of the Galaxy was like a fucking bottom tier. Like we didn't know nothing about them. Like they're taking these characters that have potential that can, you know, make some waves if we show them in the right light, and then making them, you know, just what's the word I'm looking for? Like viable, just making them consumer friendly type of thing.
Yeah.
So
No, I was saying they I mean, like you said, from jump they didn't have the top tier character like that. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, that's their top marquee characters.
yes, that's top market of shit.
So, but off the rip, they didn't have that. So what they had to do was figure out, okay, we got our C, D, Q, whatever list characters now. How do we make this interesting? So the story came first, like making it fun and interesting came first, and then obviously, which is the problem with DC is they took their time, they built it. So they did Iron Man and then Iron Man 2, and Thor, and then Captain America. They had the Hulk, and they just slowly built the stuff out, and they introduced the characters slowly while weaving things together. Like there wasn't like, I think now more than ever it's a little bit more heavy-handed, but it's also 12 years in, so they can get away with doing a lot more of the connected stuff. But before it was like, if you watch the first Iron Man, there's barely anything that's connected to anything. Like there's like Nick Fury shows up at the end and then Shield, and they have a few conversations about some shit. It's really not a whole lot. Same thing with Captain America. I mean, they have the Tesseract, and then obviously it ends, and then like the post credit like end scene of it is Nick Fury and he's talking. So then that starts slowly builds that up. Same thing with Hulk movie. The whole movie is barely anything that connects to anything until the end, where Robert Downey shows up with Thunderbolt at the bar. But like, outside of that, it's very minimal shit. So like they took their time. And it was like, story first. Let's make this an interesting movie, a good story. I mean, even if it's not perfect, but like make this a good story. And then they build out like that. So like, I think that's their whole track record is we're gonna give you as best of a story as we can first, and then integrate all the other shit together. So yeah, so Moon Knight, nobody knew it was Moon Knight. Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who the fuck that was, but the story was good. The characters were fun. It was interacting. It was great. And so I think now they're in a funny space because now they have to go disrespectfully, respectfully, whatever, even lower tier maybe, or just not even lower tier, just maybe more obscure, and then try to find a way to introduce that to people. And I think so far they're in the middle. Shang-Chi, I think, was pretty decent. Eternals was like
Shang-Chi
was hit or miss for some people. But I think the movie was actually really good, and I think it did a good
I think
job.
Shang-Chi missed because people don't know what the fuck's going on. But when they incorporate everything within the MCU and what the final, like, I guess, big bad is, like, it'll make sense and everybody will be on board.
Yeah, and I think that might have been more of a COVID issue than anything.
It was a China issue.
And that, I mean, that too. Yeah, I think that was like, okay, COVID, they probably...
China vain as fuck. I want to say that.
Yeah. They probably want to do more.
Shallow bitches.
Eternals is in the middle. They tried, I think it was a lot of characters to try to get people agree. I don't think the movie was bad, but I don't think it connected with people the way it should. And then Black Widow, it was like, this is like it's too late, and it doesn't matter because we know she died. Like, it matters because it introduced a whole new character that we're gonna hopefully see more of. So that was good, but in general, for the story of that, it was just like, yeah, okay, she died, but we already knew she died.
Right.
So that was like, whatever. And then, then Spider-Man. So we'll see. So now I think from this point going forward, I think we're far enough away from the COVID stuff where I think they're actually allowed to do their plans in the order that they really want them to go going forward. Hopefully, we'll see. So we'll see with Doctor Strange, how that turns out. We'll see with Thor, Love and Thunder, how that turns out. And I don't know what's coming up. Black Panther, I think, is next. And the Marvel. So seeing those stuff will allow us to see what their actual vision is. Hopefully we'll have more answers by the end of that, but we'll see.
Another question. Y'all would know better than me. Does Disney outright own Marvel, or is it under contract?
Own it.
They own it, I believe, yeah.
Only certain characters though.
Yeah, they don't own all the characters. Like, they don't. So they own Marvel comic books, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of making movies off of characters, they don't own all the characters. Yeah. They own most of them. I guess at this point they're only missing the Hulk and
Spider-Man shit.
What, Marvel?
Yeah. Hulk and Spider-Man shit. Movie rights.
Yeah. Well, so they own
movie
rights.
rights.
They own the character for Hulk, so they can use Hulk, but they can't make solo movies for Hulk, which is why we haven't gotten one since that first one. They can't use him in solo movies. He can show up in team stuff, which is why he showed up in Thor and all that other shit. But they don't have the ability to make solo Hulk films yet. So, and then they don't own Spider-Man stuff and anything that's tied into that Spider-Man stuff.
Is there a world where Marvel is a bigger name than Disney?
I
don't know. I'm from
I'll be back.
Solely a optical standpoint, right? So obviously everyone doesn't read comics, everyone doesn't own Disney Plus, whatever the fuck, right? I feel like a lot of these Marvel movies, most of these Marvel movies have done over, the 500 million mark, inching the 700 million. A few have done the billion mark. I feel like once you get into like the optical thing of like, hey, putting this in people's face, have them feel the emotions, feel the characters, get invested in these characters. There's a different emotion that Disney doesn't bring out of you with their kid-friendly, you know, mom always dying in the beginning, you know, on these adventures, taking you through a roller coaster. Nigerian Princess, never. It's always never until somebody else comes up. We never thought that someone would be richer than Bill Gates until Elon Musk came about. So
Yeah.
it's a never say never thing, but it's always it's not done. It's always impossible until somebody does it, type of thing. I kind of feel like if Marvel was ever to break away from Disney and they stay on this trajectory of what they're doing with the movies, TV shows, comics, there might be a world. We might not be around for it, but there might be a world where Marvel is bigger than Disney. There might be just off the optical. I put this in your face. I made you feel feels, the emotions, and just the theatrics of it all. The explosions, the fights, the excitement, the build up, you know, we know the build up that Marvel has done over the past, 10 years with phase 1 through 4. And then what they're doing now. We don't even know what they're doing now. We just have all these movies. We have all these TV shows. We don't know what Loki's doing. We don't know what Moon Knight is doing. We don't know what Scarlet Witch and what the fuck is nigga name? Robot guy that she loved.
Vision.
We don't know what that shit is doing. We don't know nothing. We just have all these Disney TV shows and we don't know what they're doing, but they're still Marvel at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on, but I feel like there might be a time, not in the near future, like not in the next 50 years, there will be a time, if Marvel stays on this trajectory, they might be bigger than Disney.
Well, I mean,
when it comes to,
I understand what you're saying, I guess, to a certain extent, but Disney owns it, so it's always going to Disney first.
Well, like that's what I was asking. If it's a contract or if it's like we outright own you, motherfucker.
No, they own. I think they brought it. They own it for perpetuity.
Therefore, by default, everything I said was invalid.
Yeah,
they own that. They own that. They own Star Wars. So I mean, so I understand. I think in the zeitgeist of pop culture, I do think. Yeah, I think we'll think of Marvel MCU stuff before we think of like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. But even though they also have like the cachet of just being around for so long. I'm not 100% behind.
I mean,
but I do think in pop culture, I think we definitely talk, especially us. Like we talk more about Marvel shit than we talk about Mickey. When was the last time we talked about Mickey Mouse doing something? Last time, Donald Duck doing something. Pluto
but
doing something.
it's the thing of. How do I put this? It's the thing of like we know what Mickey Mouse is and what he's been introduced as and what he's meant to like us as like a youth. But you introducing Mickey Mouse to a new culture that, is not really like Mickey Mouse is more TV shows. He's not more so movies or comics and nothing like that. He's more so just like a TV show. But then to change the whole, like to do a whole 180 on Mickey Mouse would just be weird. For like a certain generation, but a new generation might find like, oh, this is my Mickey Mouse. I don't know. It's weird. What up, Rich? What's good with you?
I feel you. I think
it's a weird thing.
I do think Marvel has probably overtaken the lion's share of the pop culture like noise. Like
that shit is hilarious.
Yeah, we're talking about Marvel stuff more than we're talking about like Mickey Mouse Disney stuff.
Shit, what do you think was bigger, like the Mandalorian or Marvel shit?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like if I was to put, because I think if you were to put any, typical Disney movie in theaters over a Marvel movie, the Marvel movie would do leaps and bounds over that. Like if you to put Seeing Red in the theaters versus what's the last like Black Widow, I think Black Widow blown fucking Seeing Red out the water.
Yeah, but I think with this different because the audiences are there is an overlap, but it's different. Like you think Disney, you think kids, right? You think Marvel, you think not just you think kids, but then also adults. So I just think the audience is a little bit wider. Like even if you don't have kids, you'll watch a Marvel movie, but you might not watch a Disney movie if you don't got kids.
I think with Disney shit, they don't really make original Disney content. Meaning, like Pixar, like they bought Pixar.
Yep, they want that.
Like yo,
whatever.
I love racist motherfuckers. I don't even know if they're racist.
What they say?
In the YouTube chat, somebody said.
I seen it.
What they say?
They said, "Do you prefer being called African American or Black American?"
I just put American.
American.
What?
I just put American.
I prefer this whole concept of like color, race, whatever the fuck. Yo, I love you racist niggas. Yeah. I love y'all. I tell you I love y'all. I don't even know if you mean to be racist, but I love you.
I mean, whether
I be wanting to get into the shits, and y'all don't be coming with the shits. I want all you racist, bigoted, punk motherfuckers to come into the chat and talk that shit.
I just thought it was funny. I was like, what?
Please.
Por favor.
You call white people white Americans? I don't know. What's going on?
Yeah.
They don't. They call them American.
See, the thing, this is what I don't like about this is why it's so funny about Americans. Like, they really think people really give a shit about that. Oh, you're a Black American. When you go to some of these countries and start acting up, you're like, oh, you're a fucking American. I don't like
you. Yo, you're an American.
Oh, man. But I don't know. He could have been just asking a question.
Nah, he could have been. I mean, that's the thing. I really don't want to put certain things past certain people because I feel like there's enough knowledge in the internet out there that you just know better.
Fuck. That shit was random as that shit was mad random.
And the fact that it was random as fuck, I just know you came in there with intention to try to piss somebody off. Like you don't come into a chat with 3 black people and just ask, do you prefer to be called African American or Black American? I prefer being called human. I prefer being called American. I prefer being called my name. All black people don't look alike. You have 3 Black Americans here. None of them look alike.
Oh, they're gonna say Hesh look like Notorious B.I.G.
Aries Spears.
They gonna say like
they gonna say Hesh look like Aries Spears. Bobby look like some insert black
James
man
Harden,
with,
James Harden.
Inside James Harden, they gonna say I look like Lil Jon or some shit.
What?
3 black people that don't look alike.
Okay. I do not look like Aries Spears. He looks like me.
No, you do look like Aries Spears.
No, you do.
No, he look like me.
Who's older?
I would assume that nigga.
Okay, so who has more recognition?
I would assume me.
You know what? I like the energy.
Now let me stop playing. Now I like Aries Spears too.
Nah, I appreciate the energy. He's like, nah, me, Dojo, all day.
Gang, nigga.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't agree with them, nigga Robbie. Don't do that to me.
I thought we